humanity has always been obsessed with finding the one. Do you guys notice that? Everyone just really wants to find the one. But do you know who was the forerunner of the idea of the pursuit of the one? It was Jesus. Jesus was the one who said that in a flock of 100, should one stray, he will move heaven and earth just to bring that one back. Because that's the kind of God that we have. That's the kind of God our God is. That wherever you are and whoever you are and however you are, He will go to great lengths just to reach you, just to find you, just to meet you there. Because to Him, you are the one. You are the one. Can you just imagine that there are like roughly 8 billion people in this world, and I don't know how many creatures, and just countless of stars and infinite universes, but you still hold weight in His heart. You still hold weight in His heart. You hold weight in His heart. Because in you is the very breath of God. In you is God's goodness, His greatness, His hope, His love, and His light. In you is the breath of God. And knowing that, just how can we not be moved? Knowing that the very fabric of our being is love that breathed life into us, that love that died for us, love that never fails, that never ceases, that never falters, that never wavers, love that would do it over and over and over and over again. If it means having to save one, love who would die over and over again if it means having to save you. How can we not be moved? How can we not be moved? And so tonight, Father, as we worship you, as we just come to prayer, God, we just thank you. Our hearts are filled with so much gratitude for breathing this life into us, Lord, breathing your life into us. A life that seeks nothing but your goodness, nothing but your greatness, nothing but your love. A life that is meant to be lived with you, meant to be lived for you, Jesus. A life that would also move mountains, to love the things that you love, to care for the things that you love, to bring peace just as you brought peace. A life that will say, me too, I will love too, I will live too. A life meant for you. And we praise you, Jesus. And we just sing this to you, we just declare our love for you. Hallelujah. I can see your heart in us that, we have this place to come to every week to get to know you a little bit more. But we also know that it's your way of familiarizing us with your voice so that when we go out there, it's not so hard to find you in everything else. That we recognize you in the people that we meet, that we recognize you in the people who encourage us to be better versions of ourselves, in our jobs that we're so grateful for, in the time that we spend with the people who matter to us, in the little blessings and in the big miracles that, we might not have even expected. And if there's anything that's clear, it's that you have always been here with us, every step of the way, throughout this entire journey, whether we realized it or not, you have always been there. And tonight, dear God, we stand here in your presence, and we ask once more that you wash us in your love, you wash us in your grace, so that, kami naman God, when we step out of here, we're able to impart the same mercy, the same love, the same patience that you make us feel week on week, every day. We thank you, dear God, for your relentless love, for your relentless grace, and for everything that you are. And our prayer is that every single day we hope to be just more like you. Amen? And so we sing this song of worship tonight as our small offering to God for everything that he has done for us. So if you're comfortable, I invite you to lift your hands, to say that I am here, God, I am here the same way that you are here for me. And we sing this tonight. Standing here in your presence, in a grace so relentless, I am won by perfect love, wrapped within the arms of heaven, in a peace that lasts forever, sinking deep in mercy, sing a wide awake, drawing close to thy grace, and all my heart is yours. All fear removed, I breathe you in and lean into your love. Oh, your love. Yes, God, we are grateful for your love, and we are grateful for you finding us. When I'm lost, you pursue me. With my hands, see your glory, so beautiful. Here in you I find shelter, captivated by the splendor of your face. My secret place, I'm wide awake, drawing close to thy grace, and all my heart is yours. All fear removed, I breathe you in, I lean into your love. Oh, your love.
are gracious, and you are good. And so, Father, may we never take these moments for granted when we get to enter into your presence. May we never take it for granted that we get to enter in your most beautiful, most wonderful, and most powerful presence. So, Father, we just simply thank you that we get to enter in your presence just as we are. No matter what we have done, no matter what our pasts look like, no matter how many times we failed and we faltered, still you welcome us with your love. Still you welcome us with your grace. Still you welcome us with open arms, with wide arms, God. And so we give you praise tonight. We thank you, Jesus. We thank you, God, for all you're doing in our lives, Jesus. Have your way, God. Have your way, Jesus. Hallelujah. Oh, tell us, sing that. Your love so deep. Your love so deep is washing over me. Your face is all I see. You are my everything. Jesus Christ, you are my one desire. Lord, in my only right to know you all. Love so deep is washing over me. Your face is all I see. You are my everything. Jesus Christ, you are my one desire. Lord, in my only right to know you Father, tonight we just enter into your presence, and as we break open your word, our prayers that you would wreck us, that you would change us, transform us from the inside out. And so we just lean in tonight, opening up our hearts, ready, expectant, and excited for what you're about to do in us. For we know and believe that when we encounter you, we will never be the same again. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Come on, let's give it under the shout of praise to our great God. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike. I lead the feast at Feast Bellevue PM, and I'm so glad to be here with you all tonight. As you all know, our beloved brother Builder will be getting married this week, so be prepared for that. And so it's just a pleasure and an honor to be filling in his shoes tonight. But let me just say this on the onset, alright? And I really believe this with all my heart. That feast Makati Salcedo, I believe, is the standard by which every feast should run. It is the standard. So if you come here, if you attend here, if you give here, if you serve here, you should be proud. You should be glad because you are blessed to be sitting under the leadership and the teaching of Brother Jan Sina and all of these magnificent guys on stage and all these servants. Hallelujah. So Brother Jan, if you're still here, I know where you are, or if you're watching this, you are a great friend, you are a great preacher, you are a great leader, and I believe this week from now on, you're going to be an even greater husband and an even greater father. Thank you, because I can truly say I am not just a fan, but a follower of your life and your ministry. So thank you for inspiring men like me to be all that God wants us to be because of you. Thank you very much. Let's give it a round of applause. So are you ready? Come on, answer me as if Brother John was the one who's asking. Are you ready? Yes! Alright, I want to begin tonight. We're going to be seated in a while. Just hang on a bit with me. I want to begin by watching or having you watch this video. Fix your eyes on the screen.
Ready?
If you're happy and you know it, come on, clap your hands. Alam niyo, nung pinapanood yun ng asawa ko sa akin, sobrang may tawa ng tawa. Tapos paulit-ulit lang namin pinapanood. Kahit ilang beses na halakak pa rin kami ng halakak. Masarap tumawa, yes? Masarap maging masaya, tama ba? And sometimes, well, I know that some of us may have hope, but ultimately, that's your choice. I'm saying, you may not be in the best situation, the best season of your life right now, but how you respond to the circumstances you are in is still your call. It is still your choice. In other words, I'm saying happiness is a choice. Amen? Kaya kung tabi niya, tabi mo sabihin mo sa kanya, you deserve to be happy. Kung katabi mo yung crush mo, sabihin mo sa kanya, you deserve to be happy with me. Diba? So friends, whatever trial or struggle you may be faced with in life right now, may I encourage you tonight to try this out, to trade your sorrows for the joy of the Lord. For Scripture says that the joy of the Lord is our strength. And so let's just allow the joy of Jesus to strengthen everything in us, so that whatever we face, we can face it with laughter. Whatever struggle with laughter, whatever sorrow with hope, and whatever stressful situation with peace. Amen? For our prayer tonight is this, and this is our prayer. That Paul says this, may the God of hope fill you with joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Yes? Hallelujah. So tonight, let's just enter the presence, the God's presence, and let's just receive the joy of the Lord. With arms stretched high, with your eyes closed, just say this prayer after we say, today I receive all of God's love for me. Today I open myself to the unbounded, limitless, overflowing abundance of God's universe. Today I open myself to God's blessings, healing and miracles. Today I open myself to God's word, so that I become more like Jesus every day. Today I proclaim that I am God's beloved, I am God's servant, I am God's powerful champion, and because I am blessed the world. In Jesus' name, amen. Let's honor God's word together as we sing. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. Come on, let's give another big hand. Hallelujah, Jesus. Speak to us tonight. You can be seated as you're sitting down. Tell the person beside you, you're looking sexy tonight. Hallelujah. Let's give a big hand to our worship team. Thank you very much, guys. This is the standard by which every feast should follow. Amen. Amen. I want to welcome those of you who came here for the very first time. Let me just give them another big hand. You know who you are. Thank you for coming over tonight. Whether pinili kayo ng kaibigan nyo or ng kapamilya nyo to come here, I know it is by no accident that you find yourself here. I believe that God's going to speak something to your life that will bless you and impact you in the days ahead. So thank you. Thank you very much for coming. And those of you who are tuning in online through Facebook Live, you're also blessed that you're coming in, watching, leaning into what God is doing here. Our prayers and whatever will be preached here will be preached into your situation as well, so that you will be encouraged, empowered to be all that God wants you to be. Let's give them a big hand as well. Thank you very much for our online viewers. This is our studio audience, right? Akala mo nasa TV show tayo. Alright, so tonight we're gonna continue our series entitled Fullness. Everybody say Fullness. How to begin with the end in mind. When I say end, you get E-N-D. It's A-N-D. That's why in this last how many weeks we've been trying to explore the power of end. In the first message we talked about goals and gratitude. Last week we talked about self-love and selflessness. Tonight we're going to talk about sacred and secular. Everybody say sacred. Everybody say secular. You know, the very first time that I learned about the distinction between sacred and secular was when I was part of a youth ministry. In fact, truth be told, I was part of the same youth ministry where Brother Carlo and Brother Jan grew up. So we were all in the same generation, trying to know the Lord, trying to fix our lives all together. And if I may share with you a throwback picture of that, it's this. Can we show them? Ayan. So this is what our youth ministry, I think this was a party after a prayer meeting. So that's me over there, ako yan. So, and then believe it or not, this is Brother John at that time, right? Mas pogi pa rin siya ngayon, more than ever. And that's Brother Carlos. Yeah, okay? So that was our youth ministry then. And I remember our leaders at that time somehow taught us to abstain from secular music few days before our prayer meeting every week. And they taught us this practice to somehow teach us on how to really focus on God and put ourselves in the proper spiritual disposition. And I could say it worked. It really helped us spiritually. But somehow it was through that teaching, it was through that practice, that for the very first time, it dawned on me na meron palang ganun, that there are certain things in life that are sacred and there are certain things in life that are secular. And in my limited understanding at that time, this is how it worked out in my head. In my head, I was thinking, everything that has to do with God, everything that has to do with church or spirituality, that was all under the brand name of sacred. And everything else that did not fall under that category was considered secular. That's why somehow it gave me the wrong notion that secular was worldly or secular was unholy. And sometimes we make those distinctions as well. In fact, our distinctions between secular or sacred and secular can lead us to divide our lives into two parts. Alright? That somehow we're a certain person when we're in church, and we're a different person when we're at work. And you can relate this. Diba? Minsan ganyan tayo na ganito yung hugis natin. We act this way when we're in the prayer meeting, and we act a different way when we're at home. I remember I had a friend, sabi niya sa akin, Mike, alam mo yung boss ko, he's a horrible boss. Grabe siya. Walang araw na lumipas na hindi niya kami sinigawan. Pag nagkamali ka, mumurahin ka niya. Tapos sabi niya, he will really shame you in public. He's really a monster boss. And he said, parang siyang Godzilla in Barong. Parang gano'n. Now, one time, my friend came to work, and on that day, he said he got the shock of his life. Bakit? Because he found out that his boss was actually part of a prayer group, of a prayer meeting like the feast. Paano niya nalaman? Kasi inimbita siya. Punta kang prayer meeting. Punta kang ganito, punta ka dito. And of course, noong una ayaw niya. Pero wala siyang magagawa kasi boss ka niya, pag-aagalitan siya. So punta siya sa prayer meeting. And lo and behold, when he got there, he found out, again, the second shock of his life, because apparently, this boss of his was actually an elder in that prayer group. That's why throughout the duration of that whole prayer meeting, he was dumbfounded. Hindi siya makapaniwala. Kasi itong boss niya, sumisigaw sa kanya na galit araw-araw, biglang umimiti sa lahat ng tao, kinakamayan niya, pinahag niya, wini-welcome niya sa prayer meeting, nakataas pa yung kamay at nakapikit pag-worship. Kaya parang sabi niya, is this the same person? Siya rin ba to? And he figured it out that somehow, his boss was like a reverse werewolf. Alam niyo werewolf? Di ba yung werewolf? Werewolf siya sa gabi, tao siya pag sa umaga, di ba? Siya reverse. Tao siya, reverse. So, werewolf siya sa umaga, tao siya pag gabi. Diba? Sino may mga boss na ganyan, taas sa kamay? Kung nandito sila, huwag kayo magtataas sa kamay. Okay? Alright? This reminds me of just last night, because sadly, my wife was bitten by a German Shepherd. She was walking our dog, nakagat siya, so she's here, she's limping and all, but she's okay, she's fine, praise be to God. Pero bigla akong kinakabahan kasi bigla siyang baka maging werewolf. Actually, matagal na naman din. So, okay lang. Biro lang. So, yung mga iba sa inyo ha, na mga boss dito sa na nag-feast, kailangan mabait kayo sa mga tao niyo. Okay? Tapos kung may mga boss kayo na talagang hindi nyo masakyan, tapos masasamang boss, dali nyo sa feast para bumait din. Amen? So, we have these distinctions. That we act a certain way, let's say when we're in the feast, and we act a different way or live a different life when we're outside the feast. And why is that so? I believe it's because we divide what God did not divide to begin with. Wherein we have a sacred life, but along with that, we also have a secular life. And on one side of the coin, napakabait natin, we're praying, reading the Bible, coming to the feast, worshiping and all of that, but somehow it doesn't work the same way, or we act a different way outside of it. Alright? We divide our world between sacred and secular, but God never intended such a division. Are you still with me? Yes? In fact, I believe that's one of the reasons why Jesus, the Son of God, came into this world. To end the great divide between man and God, so that the secular would be made sacred, so that the worldly would become holy, and so that we humans can actually be divine. You see, with Jesus, heaven has made its home on earth. That there are no more boundaries, there are no more distinctions, nothing that could ever separate us from Him. And I believe that is good news. Do you believe that? Yes? That is good news. That is good news for us. In fact, when Jesus laid His life down for us on the cross, He further tore what separated us from Him. Are you following? Yes? And I believe this happened in the miracle of the Temple of Jerusalem in Matthew 27, verse 50 to 51. Can we have it on screen? Can you read it all together? 1, 2, 3, go. Jesus again gave a loud cry and breathed His last. Then the curtain hanging in the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. So right at the moment where Jesus dies on the cross, something miraculous happens in the Temple of Jerusalem, where suddenly this curtain, this veil, was torn in half, top to bottom. Now, for us to somehow appreciate this more, let's take a tour in the Temple of Jerusalem, alright? And so follow me along with this. We're going to get to a point where you will somehow understand and appreciate this better. Are you with me? Yes. Alright. So the first part, there are 5 parts of the temple. Okay? The first part of the temple, let's show them, is the court of the Gentiles, right over here. The court of the Gentiles, okay, that's where non-Jews stay. So Gentiles, to define it, are non-Jews. And for Jewish people, they would consider Gentiles as dogs. So dyan lang sila sa periphery, sa labas, para silang saling pusa. Let me illustrate this, alright? Let's say may music festival na binubuo here in the Philippines. And it will be held in, let's say, Mall of Asia Arena, where they're trying to get acts like Justin Bieber, Bruno Mars, and Ed Sheeran to be part of the musical performers. So it will be held there, and they're going to be charging, let's say, 70 to 100,000 for a ticket. Okay? So that's that. But the organizers were suddenly thinking, what if we put projectors outside in the Mall of Asia concert grounds? Tapos we can sell more tickets at a cheaper price. Baka may iba pang gusto manood. So for those who would watch in the concert grounds, you can somehow imagine their predicament. Diba? All the action is happening inside the arena, tapos sila nunod lang sa labas. That's how the guys in the court of Gentiles were feeling. That's how they were simply left out there. Okay? So that's the first part of the temple. The second part is the court of women. That's over there, the green part. Ayan. The court of women, okay, why are they separated? Remember, there's a passage where Jesus multiplied bread and fish. Naalala niyo yun, yes? Right? He multiplied 5 loaves and 2 fish. And at the end of that whole passage, it says this, that 5,000 men were able to eat, not counting what? Women and children. Now, bakit ganun yun? Bakit ganun yung bilangan ng panahon na yun? Well, sadly, it's because during that time, in ancient history, women were not considered, sadly, women were not considered as people. That they were just slightly more expensive than cows. Kaya kung may katabi kang babae ngayong gabi, pakisabi lang sa kanya, you are beautiful and you are precious. You are precious. How men, women are beautiful. Amen? Amen. Amen yan. Okay? Lalo na katabi mo yung asawa mo. Okay? So that's the second part of the temple. The third part of the temple, that's that blue line over there. That's the court of Israel. This is now the part of the temple that is exclusive to Jewish men. Alright? And for accuracy's sake, I'll mention this. After the court of Israel, 3 feet higher is the fourth part, which is the court of the priests. That's the pink part. And then 8 feet higher, right smack in the middle of that temple, is the fifth and last part, which they call the Holy of Holies. Now this Holy of Holies, in their belief at that time, they believed that this is where God lived. That this is the physical home address of God in that yellow part, in the Holy of Holies. And what's in the Holy of Holies? In the Holy of Holies, they believe that's God's throne, the Ark of the Covenant. And in the Ark of the Covenant, you have the 10 Commandments. And they also believe that it is in this exact spot where Abraham offered Isaac to God. So, yung paniniwala nila was that this is the place where they can truly, tangibly grasp the presence of God. That's where God is. So if you were in that time, you would think that most of them, or in fact all of them, would often go to this place, yes? Right? If that's where God is, oh, I want in on that, I want to be part of that, I want to go. So you would think na lahat sila parating atat-atat pumunta dyan. Tama ba? But the thing is, that wasn't true for them. Because for them, the Holy of Holies was a scary place. It was frightening for them to go and enter that part of the temple. In fact, it was so frightening for them that only one person, the high priest, could enter into that small space. And not every day, just once a year, during the Feast of Atonement. You see, for them, holy meant horror. They believe that whoever enters into that Holy of Holies enters into the holy, perfect presence of God. And so if you enter into that space and you're not holy, and that you're unworthy, stained with sin, you could die for not being holy. That was what they were thinking. Iniisip nila na, papatayin sila ni Lord. Let me put this in modern context. Has it ever happened to you na pupunta kayo ng simbahan, tapos may kasama kayong kaibigan, tapos pagpasok mo, ayaw niya sumama, tapos sasabihin niya, hindi ako papasok dyan kasi malulusaw ako sa kasalanan ko. Ganon yung paniniwala nila ng panahon na yun, na mamamatay sila dahil may kasalanan sila. That's why it's only the high priest who comes. In fact, itong high priest na to, meron siyang costume, meron siyang wardrobe pagpapasok doon. And I'll explain why. Let's show them. Yeah. Okay? Let's show them with more visual illustration. Can we have our high priest model tonight to come in? Yeah. This is Brother Harold. What's up, Brother Harold?
Hello.
Hello. Speak Jewish. Bilang. Alright. So this is our high priest. Part of his garments are belts under the hem of his robe. For example, belts. Ano ba sound effects? Ano sound effects na? Ayan. Anyway. Ayun. Okay. Nandiyan na yung ice cream. Anyway. So there are belts along the hem of his robe. Why? Ayan. Sige, okay na. Okay na. The bells would signal that he's still alive. Alright, you see, let's say behind this curtain is the Holy of Holies. So when he enters into the Holy of Holies, what will be happening as he walks? The bells would be ringing. Ayan, very good, on cue. Nagre-ring yan. Diba? Signaling na buhay pa siya. Pagpasok niya at pag namatay siya, that means he will drop dead on the floor and the bells will no longer be ringing. That would signal he's dead. Okay? Second thing is part of his wardrobe. You have a rope tied around his waist. Ipakita mo, bro. Yeah. Alright. Para sa naman yung rope? Papasok siya dito, di ba? May rope trail. Pagpasok niya, and again, let's say he's sinful, he dies in the holy presence of God. The other priests now will be able to pull his body out of the Holy of Holies without having to enter the Holy of Holies. Why? Kasi baka sila makasalanan din at pag pumasok sila, mamamatay sila. Gets ba? Okay, let's illustrate. Bro, are you ready to enter to the Holy of Holies?
Always ready.
Always ready. Let's see. Okay? So, sige. Brother Harold, our high priest, will now enter into the Holy of Holies. Can we proceed? And so he enters. Pero siyempre si Brother Harold, katulad natin lahat, makasalanan talaga yan eh. So ano nangyari sa kanya? Who wants to go next? Nasaan yung rope? Ayoko pumasok dyan. Baka matsugi din ako. Ayan. Ayan. Binigyan niyo sa akin. So now the other high priests try to pull him out. Pull him out. And gulong na siya to drive his body out of the Holy of Holies. Let's give him a big hand. Come on. Thank you very much. You're wondering kasi yung bells, na-outgrow na kasi niya. So, hindi na nagkasya. But anyway, what's my point? Alright, what's my point? We're getting there. Are you good? Are you still good? Yes? Okay. What separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of the temple was this thick curtain that you saw. Let's show you the picture. Next slide. Ayan. That thick curtain separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of the temple. And when Jesus died on the cross, when Jesus died on Calvary, that veil, that curtain was torn. It was said in Matthew, the verse we read earlier, the curtain hanging in the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. And one way that we can understand what this curtain meant, let's show the picture again. Anyway, yeah, alright, so there you go. One way that we can understand what this curtain meant was that this curtain symbolized the separation between sacred and secular. And so when Jesus died on the cross, God tore that separation into two. And it's as if God is saying now, my presence is not confined in a small space. He was saying, you've got it all wrong. My powerful, wonderful, loving presence is not confined on this small room. It is everywhere. And everyone now can enjoy my presence no matter who you are, no matter what you've done. You don't need to be holy. You don't need to be perfect to come into my presence. You can come with all your junk, with all your mess, with all your sin, because nothing should ever separate us from the love of God in Jesus' name. Amen? Nothing. And so he splits that into two. And I believe, this is not in my notes, I was just thinking about this earlier when we were in worship. We are so privileged to live in a day when we can just come to God anytime, anywhere, and worship Him. Imagine the men in those days. They cannot come to God. They'd have to go to the temple. And they can only come into the Holy of Holies, one of them, once a year. But think about it. We are privileged, we are blessed that every week we get to gather under the name of Jesus, we get to honor Him and worship Him and enjoy His loving grace and presence here at the feast. And so I don't know about you, but for me who's a sinner, that is great news. That is wonderful news. Come on, give the Lord a shout of praise for that. That is great news that we get to enjoy. That's why my prayer earlier was, let's never take moments like these for granted. Because it's so good that we get together, we get to come in the presence of God. Amen? Amen. So basically God was saying now that there's no such thing as sacred and secular anymore, we can say that God is everywhere. You believe that? Yes? God is in your family. God is in your finances, in your health, in your business, in your career. God is in your dieting, or God is in your exercise. I can say God is in Spotify, God is in Netflix, and wherever God is, that's where the Holy of Holies is. Amen? God is everywhere. God is all around us. And the same God that you encounter in the sacred is the same God that you encounter in the secular. The same God that we enter, that we encounter, that we meet in the Master's place is the same God that we meet in the marketplace. That's why we can now say, wherever we are, at any moment, we can say, God is here. Everybody say this, God is here.
God is here.
And whenever we mention those three words, wherever you are, whether you're at home or the office or in the mall, when you say God is here, you can bet that grace is here, favor is here, love is here, breakthrough is here, blessing is here, hope is here, peace is here. Because God is here. Amen? Amen? God is everywhere. So for Him, there's no division between sacred and secular. In fact, I believe that one of our roles as followers of Christ is to tear down the walls of sacred and secular. Let's fling wide the doors open so that more people will come to know Christ, so that more people will come to church because they would have felt accepted, they would have felt welcomed and loved. Because we have torn down the separation between sacred and secular. And here's the truth, and I believe this so much. Are you listening?
Yes.
In God's eyes, except evil, everything and everyone is sacred. Amen? Everything and everyone is sacred. Pakinig na lang tabi mo, mukha bang sacred yan? Okay? Sacred cow, na di ba? Everything is sacred. And why do we say this? Why do we say this? Because when Jesus became human 2,000 years ago, He embraced our humanity and He sanctified everything. He sanctified our breathing. He sanctified our waking, our sleeping, or for some of you, snoring. He sanctified our eating. He even sanctified our peeing and our pooping. That from that time on, we could say everything that we do is worship. In fact, I remember there's this saint. Her name is Saint Teresa of Avila. And at one moment in her life, she was praying and pooping at the same time. Imagine that, alright? And as she was doing that, suddenly the devil comes into her presence and now tempts her and taunts her and says, "How dare you? Why would you talk to God while sitting on the toilet?" You see, this is what the devil tries to do. This is how the devil tries to fool us. See, the devil wants us to separate sacred and secular so that we would be fooled that God is off limits in some parts of our lives. Let me say that again. What the devil tries to do is to make us separate the sacred from the secular so that we would be fooled to think that God is only present in some parts of our lives. That we can say, "Oh Lord, dito ka lang ha, sa spiritual life ko, sa character ko, pero sa pera ko and what I do in my spare time, wala ka dyan." That's what the the devil tries to fool you with. And I love it how Teresa of Avila somehow countered and responded to the devil's accusations. You know what she said? She said, what comes out of my lips is for God. What comes out of my butt is for you. It's true. In fact, her story reminds rightly so much of my wife. Because truth be told, she also prays while she's in the CR. In fact, if you don't know, some of the songs that we sing here at the feast that she has written, parts of it she wrote sitting on the toilet or in the shower. So now when you sing, I believe in your word, I believe in your promise, yung mga ganyan, maisip nyo, ay, nandun pala yung sinulat yun, di ba? But you see, anything that we do, when done to honor God, can be an act of worship. Amen? And that's why Paul says this, and this is somehow his recommendation to the Romans and to all of us. He says this in the Message version. So here's what I want you to do. God helping you take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. So friends, it's a lie to think that God is only present when we pray and absent when we play. It's a lie to think that God is only present when we're reading the Bible and He's absent when we're watching a movie. It's a lie to think that God is only present when we're in Mass and He's absent when we're in the market. It's a lie to think that way because again, God is always present in all that you do. Yes? You see, we said earlier that when Jesus came into this world, He sanctified everything. And one thing that I could say He sanctified was that He sanctified the ordinary. Everybody say ordinary. Ordinary. Let me just drink. See, this is ordinary moments where God sanctifies and refreshes the speaker. God sanctifies, or Jesus sanctified the ordinary. And what do I mean by that? If you look at His life, they say that Jesus only came into ministry when He was 30 years old. So all that preaching, all that healing, all that bringing back from the dead, all of that was done at age 30, and they said that He died at the age of 33. So only 3 years of His life was somehow dedicated to the sacred. What was He doing for the last 3 decades before coming to ministry? Think about it. I can imagine Him growing up as a kid, probably being taught the Hebrew alphabet from Mary. Or when He grew a bit older, He probably was playing with His friends, or scraping His knee, getting wounded, playing hide and seek and all of that. And when He grew up a bit older again, maybe Joseph taught Him on how to hold a hammer, because that eventually becomes His work, His business. And I imagine Him hanging out with His friends, eating shawarma or kebab. Middle Eastern, not Israel. Right? So you see, Jesus, the Son of God, the second person in the Trinity, the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end, the Creator of the universe, lived an ordinary life. And that's why we can say, God can be found in the ordinary. God can be found in the ordinary. In fact, I believe this. God can be found in your ordinary. You agree? Yes? In your ordinary day-to-day life, God is there. Yes? Yes. You see, an extraordinary God can choose to reveal Himself through ordinary things in an extraordinary way. You know, Brother Bo and I, our founder, we've been holding financial literacy and stock market seminars regularly for the last 7 years. And it's a joy for us to really be able to help people manage their finances and invest for their future, to really help them reach their financial goals and eventually achieve their dreams. But from time to time, and we can't help but face this as a reality, but from time to time, we would still get critics, mostly on Facebook, who would say, "How dare you? Why would you mix God and money?" And of course, we won't answer to those accusations anymore. But let me just say this, and I learned this from Brother Bo. He said that If you're a follower of Christ, if you're a disciple of Christ, one goal that you have is to be able to mix God with the ordinary. That we have to be able to have the ability to mix God in our work, in our career, in our money, in our health, in our recreation, in our family, or in all that we do. We have to be able to mix Him in all of that. In fact, if we don't, He said, if we don't mix God in the ordinary, then we probably may have failed as disciples. And so we've got to somehow bring Him in and establish His throne of grace and goodness in every aspect, in every area of our lives. Yes? Yes? That God should not just be confined to just one space, one area of our lives called spirituality. But He could actually invade and enter into the other aspects of our lives, our relationships, our love life, our family life, our work, and in every area. Amen? In fact, one clear sign of spiritual maturity is when we begin to see God in the ordinary. And the lines dividing the sacred and the secular begins to blur. And somehow you can't anymore see the difference. Because God, my friends, has kicked the church doors open wide, invading into every area and every sphere, every aspect of life, so that whenever we're watching movies, we can say God is here. Whenever we're out with friends, partying and enjoying ourselves, enjoying their company, we can still say, God is here. Or even when we're stuck in our cubicle, working, doing the best we can so we can provide for our family and achieve our dreams, when we're doing that, we can also say, God is here. Tell someone beside you, God is here.
God is here.
And so, our goal tonight with this message is that we can somehow encourage you that in your heart to tear down the veil, to tear down the curtain separating secular and sacred. To tear it to two so that eventually you will see and you will experience that everything, except sin, except evil, that everything is sacred. In Jesus' name. Amen. Come on, let's give the Lord a big hand. Can you let all stand? Are you learning something tonight, yes? Amen. You know, my most recent God is here moment happened last Monday, where my wife and I were watching this movie entitled Master Showman. Hindi pala Master Showman. Iba pala yun. The Greatest Showman. Any of you watched it already? I think it's coming out this week. Don't worry, I won't put out spoilers so that you can enjoy it for yourself. But it's a movie of Hugh Jackman, where he's playing the character, the real story of P.T. Barnum, and how he built his entertainment empire through the circus. And in this movie, as I was watching, I could really sense how God was using this film to speak to me. That He was reminding me, Mike, you need to love your friends, your family more than fame. Mike, you need to love people more than power and relationships more than recognition. And as He was speaking that into my heart, it just was a refreshing reminder of how God can use anything. God can use anything to speak to you, to bless you, and to transform you. Because that's just who He is. In fact, I believe God is a relentless suitor. Matanong ko lang, sino sa inyong masugid daw ng ligaw? Taas ang kamay. Wala. Kaya naman daming single dito sa sige naman kayo. Sino sa inyong naligaw na? Taas ang kamay. Okay. Alright. Sino sa inyong naligawan na? Taas ang kamay. Yes, haba ng hair. Okay. Alright. You know, when I was courting my wife, and I'll give you another throwback picture along with that. Pakita natin na yan. It was around that time, 2013, mga pamilya, neneng. I was courting her and I found out that she was working in an office in front of Podium in Ortigas. And I also found out that every morning she would park at her favorite parking slot in Podium Mall in the basement. This specific slot. So what did I do? Siyempre, yung discarte ko, ginawa ko. Gigising ako mas maaga than 7:30 para maunahan ko siya dun sa slot na yun. And I would park right beside it. And what would I do? I would bring breakfast. So that when she comes at 7:30 a.m., I am there waiting in all excitement to surprise her with breakfast. The crazy things we do for love, right? And even Brother John mentioned and he shared to me some of the crazy things that he did, where he did as he was courting his soon-to-be bride, Angela. He was telling me, alam mo, Mike, talagang ginawa ko para ligawan si Angela. Talagang pupuntahan ko yan sa bahay. Kahit malayo yung bahay nila, pupuntahan ko yan, tapos kinilala ko talaga yung pamilya. O, diba? Sino sa inyo may kaya doon, mga boys, diba? Kinilala talaga yung pamilya isa-isa. Sabi niya, pag may gig, pag may event si Angela, ay, kahit anong kailangan, ako nandun. Kung driver ang kailangan, sige ako magdadrive. Papuntang Tagaytayan ba? Kung kailangan ng tao na sa registration, ako bahala dyan. Anything he would do. In fact, he was telling me na pag may meeting si Angela at a certain restaurant or place, nandun lang siya in another table waiting for her so that di na siya kailangan mag-commute at iuwi na ni John sa bahay nila. Pag merong event si Mateo, the son of Angela, in school, ay nandun si Brother John. Tapos pag enrollment ni Mateo, ay siya nagbibit-bit yung mga libro. Grabe talaga. Tapos sabi pa nga niya sa akin, ano ba Mike, ano ba nito? Baka hindi ko alam. Pag linggo, 2 beses nagsisimba yan si Brother John. Kaya napakabanal na tao po niya. Hindi lang halata pag Tuesday. Joke lang. Pero every Sunday, 2 beses siya nagsisimba. Isang beses kasama ng pamilya niya. Yung isang beses kasama ng pamilya ni Angela. Grabe. The crazy things we do for love. And similarly, I believe God does crazy things to capture and captivate our hearts. Amen. So friends, whenever you may be going through in life right now, whatever trial, pain, suffering, or struggle, please know that God is with you. That He is close, and He is closer than you know. And He will do anything and everything to make you feel loved. Amen. And no matter how far you may wander away from Him, no matter how far you would go lost without Him, He will never stop running after you. He will never stop pursuing your heart. He will never stop courting you because you are the object of His affection and He loves you unconditionally, unfailing, and unceasing. That's His love, that's His grace over you. Amen. That's just who He is. He is ever present and faithful. Come on, say that with me. God is ever present and faithful. God is ever present and faithful. If you believe that, then I invite you to lift up your hands up to heaven once more. Close your eyes with me. And just allow me to lead you in prayer from the book of Psalms. It says, your spirit is everywhere I go. I cannot escape your presence. If I go to the heaven, you will be there. If I go down to the place of death, you will be there. If I go east where the sun rises, or go to live in the west beyond the sea, even there you will take my hand and lead me. Your strong right hand will protect me. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name.
Standing here
for the Lord. And if you must know, my dad is currently going through chemotherapy, being treated for cancer. And as I was doing this same message after the talk, I was really tearing up because I really saw how, in spite of the circumstances, he just allowed God to embrace him, just went out for him and just worship. And so I just want us as we end tonight that we may be somehow a source of hope and encouragement to the people around us. Because we never know how long the time we have with them, the season that they're in our lives. And for my dad, I was thankful because it was the first time in a long time that he came back into our feast and he got to really enjoy that. And so I'm going to just ask you to give a handshake, give a hug to as much people around you. Just tell them, God is with us. So we're going to come into our giving tonight, and last Sunday in our feast, right before I come to preach, I would go visit the men's room. At buti na lang kasi last Sunday I didn't know what to say yet to exhort people into giving, but just God works in mysterious ways, and I can say really God can use anything to speak to you. So when I was walking outside of our ballroom to the men's room, I saw that beside our ballroom, may kasal. So sabi ko, kawawa naman sila, maiingayan sila mamaya sa feast namin. But it just dawned on me, na pag pumupunta tayo ng kasal, when we give, it's not out of obligation. It's not because we want to pay for that food that we ate. We give whenever we're in a wedding because we want to sow a seed in the future of this couple's family. Yes? Right? We're sowing a seed in the future of this couple's family. And that just dawned on me. I think that's what we do whenever we give to the feast. That you're not giving out of obligation. You're not giving because you're forced. You're giving because you're part of this family. And you're sowing a seed to the future of this home, of this house. Because believe you me, God has been doing great things in and through this feast, but He is not done yet. You will be surprised at the great and big things He has in store for you. What that is, we don't know it at this time, but it's best that we be faithful now, so that God will really move mightily in and through this feast. Amen? Amen? So let's give our best. Let's give our best sowing a seed in the future of this family, in Jesus' name. Amen? Amen. We stand up. We all stand up. Let's just pray for one another. Just lift it up to heaven. Just allow me to pray over you. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your grace that enables us to give. May we give this with cheerful hearts, with joy, because we can be part of what you're doing here in the feast. We thank you, God. Bless us, prosper us in so many ways. We are faithful to you as we do.
now call on the first timers in the house to please stand up. Ayan, palakpan ko na ng mga first timers. Come on, don't shy. Welcome po sa Feast Makati. Before you leave the feast, please proceed over there on that side where Dave and Cats are waving their hands. And they will welcome you with a gift. Ayan. Next announcement. The encounter. We would like to invite you to please join the encounter on February 17. The booth outside is there for the registration. Just ask the servants there about the encounter for February 17. Yeah. LG signups. Marami ako nakausap dito kanina about life groups. If you haven't joined for the past years, please do this cycle. There's a form in the booklet or it's the leaflets nyo. You have the forms there. Just submit it together with your love offering or kung di man tapos na pala, that's outside. Okay? There's a booth there that says LG. Yeah, Love Life Retreats. Yun yung mga singles. Sumigaw! Sino yung mga gusto maging married? Mas humigaw! At ang unang step for you, ladies and gentlemen, is to join the Love Life Retreat on March 10 to 11. Please sign up with Marlon over there at the back. Ayan, sa labas. Ayan, Love Life Power. And now, showing you the FMS schedules for the next dates, okay? So next week, there will be no fees. Oh, Feb 6 and 7. Pero kanina, meron din tayo, wala rin fees sa 13. And Feb 14, we reconvene. Mag-date tayo together for the Valentine's Special. Okay ba yun? Parang may mga date kayo no? Meron, si Lord. Okay, next we have Feb 20, 21, 27, and 28 for the following schedules. Please take note, picture na nyo na. We will share this in social media, of course. Ayan, so see you for the month of February for this following schedules. Ayan. And now I hold in my hand yung sacrificial offering kit. So if you have taken one, we invite you to please give it already. Dahil ang Pasko ay tapos na, pero dapat araw-araw pa rin siya. Kaya you have to give your sacrificial offering. Sabi nga ni Brother Mike kanina, di ba? God does crazy things. And He ensures that when we do crazy things for Him as well, He will reward us. Amen? Kaya naman, if you want to continue spreading the love through the feast, not just here in Salcedo, but through the other ministries of Brother Bo Sanchez, please give your sacrificial offering at the table outside. Okay? Amen? Amen. Ayan. And of course, we'd like to thank Brother Mike Viñas for being